Peace. I just wanted to build briefly about a funeral I attended yesterday of a young brother named Joey that I grew up with, and I actually mentor his son right now in my program. And at the funeral, there were some things that were left unsaid that I just wanted to take an opportunity to build about right now because it also applies to other different areas, not only in this country, but in other countries where we're seeing these incidences of violence, where we're losing our young people's lives to these streets. Joey was about 31 years old, and he lost his life last week to gun violence. And one of the things that's important for us to keep in mind is that anytime we see a city or a municipality that has high incidences of violence or crime rates, or we're having lowly performing students in our school districts, as well as a lack of economic opportunities and unemployment, there are some people that benefit from those type of social economic conditions. And some people may sit there and think like, well, why would people want to see stuff like this go on? Well, one thing that is important to keep in mind is oftentimes the people who benefit from these social economic conditions do not live in the communities that these type of incidences of violence or poorly performing schools or unemployment and lack of economic opportunities is actually happening. So one way that people benefit from these type of circumstances is every year your county puts out a report that gives the statistics in terms of teenage pregnancy rates, sexually transmitted disease rates, unemployment rates, rates of crime in terms of what was violent, what was non-violent, what were the different type of crimes that were reported throughout the course of that year. It also gives out the graduation rates. So all of those statistics that your county reports every year are fed into the state. The state then determines what are the most problematic areas or counties as well as cities in that whole state, and that's how they determine where certain funding goes. The federal government works the exact same way. So you have certain agencies, institutions, public officials, and law enforcement that actually benefit from those type of conditions, and it's not in their best interest to change anything because now you're going to be messing with their money. So you have certain agencies that are specifically set up to so-called target problematic areas in your city. Sometimes you may look at it like, damn, they getting this money and they're not doing shit, and that's because if they did do something, they're going to get that money cut that they're getting from the state, and they're going to get that money cut that's coming from the federal government. So sometimes you have people who are in positions that are not in the best interest of changing anything. Matter of fact, some people are invested in things getting worse because that means they can get more money. You have poorly performing schools in certain districts that get a certain amount of money just because of that. It doesn't mean that these people are going to be doing things better to strive to change those statistics. Sometimes people are invested in things remaining the same or ensuring that things may get worse because that's how they're going to get money. And you have many people who make themselves rich off of the backs of people performing poorly, having lack of economic opportunities or being unemployed, as well as having high incidences of crime. So this is to say, knowing that you have people who actually benefit from this, you can't depend upon outsiders to come in and save you when we need to be saving ourselves. One of the beautiful things about the Black Panther Party with their free breakfast program, other services that they offer to their own community, as well as the community policing, is that they cut certain agencies, institutions, public officials, and law enforcement out of the equation in terms of being self-sufficient. And that's important to consider in terms of us being able to take care of ourselves. If we want to see a change and a transformation with the crime in our community, we have to take responsibility for doing that ourselves. Usually when you see crimes being committed where there's a perpetrator and a victim in our community, it's not someone that no one knows. It's not someone that's from a different state or a country that is a foreigner and they just come in and commit a crime. Usually the perpetrator and the victim either knew each other or knew of each other, which also means the family and the associates of the perpetrators and the victims either knew each other or know of each other. That means that everyone's within reach. we have an opportunity to resolve a lot of these conflicts on our own, and we cannot sit and depend upon outsiders who are invested in making money off of the conflict and the drama to come in and save us. We need to save ourselves. If we want economic opportunities or to change the unemployment rate in our community, we need to do an investment in our own sense of job creation and supporting our own local businesses. If we want to do something with changing the way that our students are performing in our public schools, we need to invest in educating them before we send them to these schools. So this was inspiring, it was empowering, it was educating, and gave those of you a little bit more insight on some things that are oftentimes not mentioned when we see these incidences of violence in our communities. You have people who benefit from it, and sometimes you don't see people speaking on this because they are benefiting, and they're not going to strive to mess with their money. So the best thing for us to do is to take care of ourselves, because we are the only ones that can save ourselves. Peace.